Hey guys, what's up? In today's video I have something really exciting to talk about, and I actually wanted to do this video yesterday already, but I didn't really have time. So I don't really understand why the internet is not imploding because of this. I've seen a few videos around and a few articles, but it's not as big as I would expect it to be. So the news is that at a press event in San Francisco, Microsoft Phil Spencer, who is head of Xbox, announced that the company is working on unifying Microsoft Windows and Xbox One systems. Now, in a nutshell, they want to create a system that runs so-called universal Windows applications, UWAs as they call them, and basically they want to create a unified platform that would run on the PC, and at the moment it's Windows 10 exclusive. It would run on Xbox One, tablets, Windows smartphones, any of these platforms. As long as they can run universal Windows applications, they would be able to run any of your games really. So this in itself is not groundbreaking news, because already the past year Microsoft has teased again and again that they want to unify these two systems. But at this press conference, they just laid it out in so much more detail, and it seems to me that their approach to making this happen is much more radical than I would have thought it would be. Basically, Phil Spencer said that this would be central to the company's gaming strategy. It is our focus going forward, building out a complete gaming ecosystem for universal Windows applications. So what does that mean in a nutshell? Basically, the main news is two things. First one being, there will be no exclusive Xbox titles anymore in the future. Games would run across all UWA platforms, meaning you buy an Xbox title, you will be able to play that on your PC and vice versa. So it kind of makes the Xbox as a console obsolete. That already hints very much towards the Xbox becoming basically a PC. And to underline that even more, Phil Spencer has also announced that they will offer modular hardware upgrades for the Xbox One. And this is like the groundbreaking news for me, because you will be able to update your CPU, your RAM, and your graphics unit. Now, don't ask me how this is going to work. I have absolutely no clue, because as it stands right now, obviously, the console itself, the Xbox One, is not made to be opened and to change hardware components. So maybe they're going to bring out an Xbox One Slim, and that one has the ability to be upgraded. I have no idea. Also, you have to keep in mind that these hardware parts they're going to release are not just going to be your average graphics card, for instance, that you buy in a shop and then you just go home and stick it into your Xbox and it works. They're going to be dedicated hardware pieces that you can buy. Probably they will be Xbox branded. They will be overpriced. I can tell you that much already. And Microsoft has announced that no matter how much you upgrade or modify your Xbox, every game that comes out will always be backwards compatible. So whatever your configuration in your Xbox is, you will be able to run the latest games. There will then obviously also be graphics settings in one or the other way. I personally think, and I'm just guessing here, that all this will happen automatically. So as you install a game on your Xbox One, it will automatically recognize what hardware you have inside your Xbox One and then adjust the graphic settings accordingly. I don't think you will have the settings as you would have it in the PC version. But then again, I mean, they're saying that the game is one and the same, right? That's basically what they're saying. Like, the game you have on Xbox is exactly the same game that you would have on your PC. So that tells me you would have full graphics settings. So there are just so many questions that come out of this announcement that I'm just puzzled, right? How are they going to do all this? They have not, as far as I'm aware at least, not announced any time frame. So they have not announced, that this platform that will run all these UWA titles will launch next year, June or whatever. There's no dedicated date. But as it stands right now, and as they described it in this press conference, it absolutely kills the Xbox One being a traditional console. Basically, the Xbox One will become a PC. That's pretty much what it is, because there are no separate games anymore. Like I said, PC players will be able to compete with Xbox One players. And that raises questions again, right? Is that going to apply to all games? Because we've seen it in the past, they did tests where they let PC players compete with console players, and the PC players just win 99% of the cases, because with the mouse and keyboard you're just faster in your gameplay, so it doesn't really work. But they have said that PC players will be able to compete with Xbox players. So is that going to be just in certain games? Because in Call of Duty, I can see major problems with that coming up. So again, so many questions that are coming up out of this announcement. Overall, I have to say that I really appreciate what they're doing, because generally it does bring players closer together. It's a very ambitious vision that Microsoft has there, but I think it's the right vision. It removes platform barriers. It makes games less exclusive. You will have more games on the PC and on the Xbox, so it's kind of a win-win situation. Now, a few comments that I read, and I think that is a valuable point, is that Microsoft is doing this mainly because they didn't sell enough Xbox One units. I spoke about this in another video, and I'll link that down in the description again, but basically it looks like Sony has sold nearly double as many consoles as Microsoft did, and obviously Microsoft, in order to make their platform interesting again, need to increase their player base, because otherwise companies will say, well, we don't even develop for your platform anymore because the install base is just not big enough and nobody's going to buy our game. So by combining the Xbox One and the PC into one platform, you obviously get a much bigger install base, and rather than selling only a few units of, let's say, the next Gears of War on Xbox, you will now nearly double these sales because it will also be available on the PC. So I think that is a valuable argument, and I can really see that that's a decision that Xbox made. Obviously, when Phil Spencer was asked exactly that question, he denied it and he talked all like diplomatically around it, but I think it does play a role in this decision. The other really important point on this is that the new ecosystem that they're going to develop must be really comfortable for developers to work on, because if you create something that is tricky, because it now needs to work on the PC and on the Xbox, and the Xbox has 15 different possible combinations of new hardware that might be in it, it might get tricky for developers. It's not as easy as developing just for a console. So it remains to be seen if they put that into consideration. But if they do, then I think it's definitely the right step forward, and it actually has the potential to change the whole game. I can really see this kind of creating big waves, so big in fact that I really believe it could make the difference for Xbox gaming. It makes the platform so much more interesting. It unifies. It's the right step. It's also the right message for the gamers, right? To say, look, we want to break down these barriers. We want to make the Xbox and the PC one big platform. I really appreciate that, and I think it's the right step forward. But guys, these are just my thoughts. Leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. I would be really interested in hearing them. If you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to leave me a like, subscribe to the channel for more, share the video with your friends, subscribe to my Twitters. All the links are down in the description. Otherwise, guys, take care, and I'll see you next time. I'm out. Bye.